William Friedkin, director of masterpieces like The Exorcist or The French Connection, shot a peculiar and underrated legal drama called Rules of Engagement, a film that makes use of a movie genre to reflect on its director's themes and obsessions, doing so under another light. What we mean to say is that Friedkin's usual motifs are present in Rules of Engagement, but such themes are shown to us in a limited way, as if Friedkin would have removed the bells and whistles of his cinema to focus solely on what's essential. There's a scene in the film that can show what we are saying, a scene that, at first glance, might appear dull or common. Colonel Hodges discusses with his father while they fix a car. This situation is reminiscent of another scene that also involves a car opened up, the famous scene in Friedkin's The French Connection, when Gene Hackman dismantles a car, looking for what lies underneath, behind the appearance. This scene literally exposes the main concept of this director's cinema. Friedkin's films always express a desire to dismantle machinations, to analyze schemes, to unravel conspiracies. Going back to The French Connection, behind that famous French actor traveling to New York, there's a plot that the typical Friedkin protagonist tries to understand. In today's movie, that interest is placed in dismantling the rules used to engage in combat, with the significant difference that in this film, there's no explicit scenes of the characters dismantling a car. In Rules of Engagement, there are just two guys talking. Everything already present in Friedkin's cinema is reduced to its minimum. As a matter of fact, Rules of Engagement is a film that will be constantly reducing itself. If the movie starts in big exotic locations, it will end in a small room, a court of law. This sort of self-imposed limitation is also present when thinking about the casting. Tommy Lee Jones, who is well known for the non-stop inaction of The Fugitive, has an injury on his knee that stopped his career in the military. Something similar can be said in regards to Samuel Jackson, who plays the defendant and the other protagonist of the film. An actor extremely well known throughout his career for his effusive and expressive monologues.
And furious anger, those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers.
In Rules of Engagement, when he makes such expressions, is when he is on the verge of losing the case and be found guilty of murder.
Follow the rules and nobody gets hurt? Yes, innocent people probably died.
Reflecting on what we said so far, Friedkin seems to be self-aware of three important topics. First, he is self-aware of the main themes found in his filmography and chooses to show them in a limited way. Second, Friedkin is self-aware of the most recognizable features of his leading actors and plays around with that. And third, there's an awareness in the fundaments, or rules, if you will, of the legal drama as a film genre. Let's explain this concept. If we take a look at the trial and the way it's developed, we will see almost every kind of evidence possible. There will be material evidence, photographic evidence, there will be audio evidence. We said almost every kind because the most important piece of evidence, the one that could solve the case, is missing. The cinematic evidence, the film evidence that the security advisor hides away. This character and his actions are extremely interesting to analyze. In a way, he's a director inside the story, as he manipulates the rest of the characters and tries to create a fictional plot in which Childress is the villain. That's why one of his central actions is to eliminate the film within a film, the missing tape that could destroy his build-up. This tape serves as a missing element, a tiny rectangular object that will cause this specific environment, the military, along with its rules, to collapse. In a way, this idea is reminiscent of what Friedkin has done previously. In the film noir Jade, the trio of protagonists are haunted by another element in absence, the titular Jade. The similarities between Rules of Engagement and Jade are extremely interesting. While both belong to a very specific film genre, the courtroom drama, and the film noir, both use a missing element, a hidden clue that's essential to resolve each genre's typical plot. In this courtroom drama, the tape is needed to exonerate the defendant and win the trial, and in this film noir, the detective needs to find the elusive Jade in order to solve the film's mysterious murders. As can be seen, the missing elements are of great importance in Friedkin cinema, as it is a doorway to study what's behind appearances. For example, when we see Ambassador Moraine at the trial, he's presented to us by his back. This way to shoot the character is telling us something very specific, that there's something behind what he's saying, that he isn't truthful. that he follows the appearance dictated by others. Another example of this motif can be found if we take a look at the closing argument by the prosecutor. Let's take a look. The camera movements constantly exclude a member of the jury, as can be seen here and here. In a way, this technique tells us that there will always be something missing in that argument, that his story is not complete, that he is not in possession of the tape that could exonerate the defendant. Okay, we believe that watching Friedkin's cinema with a more analytical inclination can be extremely rewarding. The tendency to look inside appearances is present throughout his career. The novelty that Rules of Engagement brings to the table is to make the same, but in a simpler way. If we started talking about the film with a straightforward scene in the garage, we should then by mentioning another apparently simple scene, when Hutchins looks for the key to Childress' house in a little tree beside the door. This simple action tells us an important thing: the solution. The key to win the trial and to understand the true rules and moral compass of those characters is hidden in a place filled with trees, a place we have already seen in the film, the woods of the Vietnam jungle. This is a place crucial for the story and for the defense counselor, defendant, and key witness of the trial. What happened there shows us that Childress and Colonel Lee Kao, despite their different cultures, upbringings, and sides in the battle, share the same values. They follow the same rules. That's how they, despite being former enemies, share a common bond. They are the doppelgangers, the doppel characters that are a regular element in Friedkin's films. This director is very fond of presenting characters that appear to be extremely dissimilar, like the cop and the serial killer in Cruising, or the corrupted cop and the juvenile agent in To Live and Die in LA. Something similar can be said about Childress and Lee Kao. What could be more different than a US colonel and a member of the Vietnamese army? Despite this, the freaking doppelgangers start to develop a bond that makes them equal. The policeman in Cruising infiltrates the killer's clubs, imitating many of his actions. The naive policeman from To Live and Die in LA starts mimicking the corrupted cop's moves, only to end up imitating him completely. The same can be said in regards to Childress and Lee Kao. If they begin the movie by being this close to kill each other, they end by defending each other. In a story filled with shady characters that seem to be from the same side, filled with people that are unaware of the significance and meaning of a salute, those who appear to be more different end up being the most alike. That's as far as we go for now. Thanks for watching, and see you next time on C Cinema.
If you like the video, please comment, like and subscribe.